Elimination race from the Charlotte Roval underway for the Xfinity Series. Three and four wide as they try to negotiate through turn one. Very tight. Coming through two and into three.
As you mentioned, Rick, we were on the track earlier today, and what jumped out about this infield section was just the lack of runoff. It feels like a street course, walls on both sides, so any sort of issue and there will be contact.
Justin Allgiaer in the 7, trying to hold that inside spot with the 22, but it's Austin Cindric now in the 22 that is able to take the advantage. The 7 gives him a little bump there as they came out onto the big course.
We got a spinner.
That's in turn 8, just as they come on to the 1.5 miles, and the 44 is around.
Tommy Joe Martins, that's a
fine.
some damage on the right front fender you see right there. Car up and rolling. We'll see if he feels he can continue or have to come to pit road to work on that right front fender as we go back to the lead. This is now in the 3 and 4 banked end of the racetrack down to this front stretch chicane.
And Steve, again, the rules here, there are stopping points around the racetrack, or 2 spots on the racetrack. If they miss these chicanes, or if they do something wrong through the chicanes, they have to come to a stop.
Another spinner in the infield.
Oh, Pileup here.
Jay
Buford is
Buford
behind it. Jay Buford in the 48, and the cautions come out.
All right, get him back here. Come on.
So that's a blind corner up over the hill, the 02. Very lucky there to be able to get stopped and not get to the door of the 48 car. We'll take a look at a replay here and see how this developed.
Looks like he's already spun around when he comes into the picture. I don't think there's any contact there.
Oh, it starts right here.
And that was Sage Karam that spun in the 31.
Oh, yeah, Jade was trying to get out of the way.
Something to keep in mind about that corner right there. When you're approaching that corner, it's blind. It's an elevation change right there, and you cannot see.
More smoke.
Oh,
He got
he's
the
got
7.
damage.
He must have hit the
I don't
wall.
know what's going on, dude. I got major problems.
We've seen the 7 with
Fire
lots of
up,
brake
like now.
lock up. We've seen him wheel hopping. We've seen the fronts locked up. Now big damage.
It's like the brakes are messed up, man. I got no idea what's going on.
Oh, he got really loose getting in that corner. You can see the left side tires turned to the right. He said he got really loose. Watch it right here. He's out of the groove. But he talked about, Junior, he was having brake issues. And there is no racetrack where brakes are more important than a road course. You have to have good braking.
Now at this point, the 7 has to decide, do they need to pit? Is there too much damage to continue? It looks to me like I don't know how that right rear tire will survive. I think with the points position that Allgiaer's in, he just needs to come in.
Time, we're going to just pull fenders. Don't worry about tires. Just go over and clearance it.
There you go. That's Jason Burnett said, pit this time. Just get the fender off the tire. This is a huge racetrack. 90-second lap times, 85-second lap times. So there's a lot of time for the 7. You see the 22 on the bottom of your screen serving a penalty. He must have missed one of the chicanes. We'll go back and review that. But here's the 7, a playoff driver on pit road making reviews. Let's take a look at the 22. Okay, so misses the back stretch chicane. So now he serves his penalty on the front stretch. He has to come to a stop in the restart zone on the same lap in which he missed the chicane.
He did that and had enough of a lead that he's actually still in second in this race. Dave.
A lot of damage on this 7 car. They will go to work on it. We started the show saying just how good the playoffs have been so far for Justin Allgaier. Finished second and then third in the first 2 races. That has given him a little bit of a cushion, but now they have to return from here and collect some points on the day. This will more than likely put them a lap down as they try to get it right before they head back out.
So watch what Cindric did. Okay, you mentioned it. He didn't lose that much track position. So the rule is you have to stop on the front straightaway to serve the penalty. Watch what he did. He knows he's going to miss it. Right here, he knows he's going to miss it. What does he do? He throttles up. He just carries as much speed through there as he can, drives to the front straightaway, and then serves his penalty. That way he's lost as little time as possible.
It was a stop and go. He did it. He's currently second. This telecast presented by Blue Emu. You're watching the drive for the Cure 250 from the Charlotte Roval, and that's Josh Bilicki. We talked about the flight canceled from Chicago last night, drove all the way through the night to get here. And missed the back chicane by just a little bit, and that's the damage that it's done to the front of that car.
Well, he's talking on the radio like perhaps he has no brakes. You see the speed that he's coming in there, so he turns left to avoid the cars in front of him, and my goodness. Jeff, you and I are awful at evaluating because we were out there earlier and said, we didn't think those curves would do quite that much damage.
I mean, it's like the splitter went underneath the curb, and when it did, it just ripped the curb off the racetrack and then ripped the front end off the race car.
Yeah, I'm having Indy road course flashbacks watching that happen.
Yeah, to your point, the curb itself went with him.
Yes.
He picked up the entire curb.
So the tracks, what do they do? Do they fix that or just?
It was bolted down prior to that car coming through.
Oh, this would be a great shot.
Yeah, so see how low the car is, and right there, it just digs underneath the splitter and just digs underneath the curb and just destroys the car.
So I think he was out of brakes. I mean, he passed 2 cars getting in there. Josh Bilicki's an experienced driver, so I want to believe he had a mechanical issue that forced him to abort left. Let's listen in.
Did we hit somebody? Is that what happened to the splitter, or did we jump over the curb?
Yeah, instead of collecting the 2 cars ahead of me, I jumped the curb.
Yeah, so he made a decision.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to get slowed down. He didn't want to run through the cars in front of him, and I mean, obviously he had no idea that was going to happen. Steve, you said it. We were out there, you know, in the pace car earlier, and we looked at those curbs, and we were like, they're not that bad. They'll be okay, not like Indy.
Brakes just went to the floor, and that was that.
Oh, there you go. Brakes went to the floor. That was it. So, Jeff, I'm laughing because you literally said that. You drove, you looked left, and you said, well, that's nothing like Indy. And I was like, yeah, you're right, Jeff. That'd be no problem. You see the bolts that are left, Rick.
And I talked about it earlier. The drivers pump the brakes as they drive around this track up to the braking zones. And you continue to pump those brakes because that temperature builds in the fluid and the brake pedal gets longer and longer. And eventually, at some point, you go in some of these cars without great cooling or a brake fade or a brake issue, you go into that braking zone and start pumping it, and the brake never comes up. The brake pedal never gets stronger, and you continue to pump that pedal, and it goes right to the floor, and then you're into the corner. That's what happened to the 7 car.
And you see what they've got to do. They've got to cut these bolts out, because if a car ran over that, it would just flatten the tires. I got to tell you guys, I don't even know why those curves are there. I mean, honestly, there's a rule. If you go, you know, if you're on the wrong side of the curves, there's a penalty. I'm not even sure why we put these penalty curbs in there just to destroy the racetrack and also disrupt the race. I think it's something we need to look at. I don't know the advantage of having those curbs there.
And Steve, I think we both saw right away the DeWalt tools came out here. That's that's what they see in the billboard or the wall when they go into turn number 1. But what a ride for Josh Bilicki as he goes right through. As we see still Ty Gibbs trying to hold off, and he slides into the chicane. Will that give the opportunity to the 16? It does. A.J. Allmendinger goes by. Ty Gibbs has to come to a stop.
And Rick, he's been reporting brake issues in that 54 car. Came on the radio just a lap prior saying the brakes were pulsating. The team said let them cool down, but as you saw there, go in the braking zone, obviously continue those braking issues.
So the 54 had 2 options. He could either go through the chicane, stop on the front stretch, or come to a stop on the back stretch chicane. That's what the 54 chose to do. It's right here under braking driver's rear wheel hop. He has no option but to go to the inside of that curve, therefore missing the corner.
Let's check on the Burton-Cousins battle. We'll start with Harrison Burton, the birthday boy. He was wondering about his points position in comparison to making it to the next round. This was just after the stage restarted.
Was wrong. The math was wrong. Only racing the 10 car. Only racing the 10 car. No worries on the 2. Only racing the 10 car on the math. I'll get her here. I'll move.
Remember, Myatt Snider was a concern until he had that penalty coming down pit road, racing the 10, and right now Harrison Burton has that in hand by a couple of positions, Parker.
Right, Dave, and they came into this race 8 points apart, Jeb, behind Harrison, and now sit 14 points apart, and they've been almost locked bumper to bumper throughout this race, but in just the last couple laps, Harrison has started to stretch away from Jeb Burton there, and Jeb's been struggling with the rear grip inside that 10 car throughout the day. We saw him get into the wall off of turn 2. You see the car wiggling there, lacking that rear grip. just not able to get the rear in the racetrack, and slowly but surely watching that 20 get away, and maybe watching his playoff hopes slip away there as that 20 drives into distance.
There's Harrison Burton in that Dex Imaging number 20. He came in again above the cut line. It was going to be a battle, we knew, between the two. Harrison, son of Jeff, and Jeb, son of Ward Burton. And so those two drivers have come up together. Harrison, the younger of the two, just turning 21 today, and Jeb closing in on 30. I want to check in on the Ruoff Mortgage Peacock pit box with KP and DJ as we're down to...
the 9's going to miss the chicane as well.
He does. He pulls in and stops. That stop and go penalty for Noah Gragson.
All right, let's not do that again, Tyler. It's going to be worse through there next time.
Take another look at what happened here.
Just wheel hopping. You see the back starting to slide around, and he's beyond being able to make the turn. Has to come to a stop. Real dirty right there. So he's got stuff all over the tires. He'll have to be careful these next couple of corners. And now he starts to put a little pressure on this 22 car, and he don't know it, but he's going to school right here. He's learning so much. Oh, and Austin's got big trouble right there. Big slide coming up the hill. You coast the car up the hill into 6 through turn 5, and you can get aggressive there. But this tire being really hard, it's so slick and easy to slip in the infield.
Sam Mayer right there, he was on the outside heading into the high banks, and it's just hard to get your car to turn. Austin Cindric able to get by. See right here, Cindric just overshot it. Yeah, just got out of line, back of the car, had to chase that, and now they're side by side. Look at that, just a big slide. And that's...
Caution's out.
There's the yellow.
Oh, we got a car coming on the pit road. A lot of smoke, the 44. Tommy Joe Martins.
A lot of damage to the right front.
He's made some contact with the wall.
Oh,
heavy contact. They had a little right front damage throughout the day. I don't know if that was a result of a blown tire, but obviously he's had heavy contact with the outside wall.
And so some debris on the racetrack, a caution coming out, and this one will be a sprint, and it will bunch everyone back up for the restart.
Well, remember, we heard the concern about fuel for a few of these cars. You see the heavy contact with the outside safer barrier. So with 3 to go here, you wonder if this isn't going to drive us into overtime. And if it does, all of those drivers that pitted on 36, I thought they were fine on fuel, but we've had a few reports from our pit reporters that drivers were being asked to save fuel. Ty Gibbs comes to mind. So we'll have to listen in on the radios and see what all these teams have to say about their fuel situation.
There you see Tommy Joe Martins in the wall. Already big impact.
And you see all the sparks and debris.
It's overtime presented by Credit One Bank. It will be 2 laps to go when they get to the start-finish line. Green flag back in the air.
Cindric really slow on the start.
And pushing into turn number 1. 4 wide back here, 4th position is Hemrick aggressively coming up through the field. Allmendinger trying to stay in front of Sam Mayer.
Sam Mayer searching for that first win in the Xfinity Series is going to be aggressive.
Allmendinger trying to be the winningest road course driver ever in Xfinity Series history if he can get out front and win this one.
There's a little slip by AJ through turn 6 there, down into 7. Sam sees that issue. Good exit off of that corner, though, by AJ. He's going to drive away as they continue to accelerate, headed toward the braking zone of the back straightaway. Expanding that lead. Get out of those corners. Get out of the corners with the long straightaways.
And the 18 of Hemrick already inside the top 8 right there. The pink car that just entered the screen. Remember, 2.3 miles for every lap. All kinds of corners left if he can continue to make ground with those new tires.
He's got 6 cars to pass if he wants to get his first ever win in NASCAR.
Big spin in the back straightaway chicane. Cars trying to negotiate that. A lot of smoke. Looks like everybody's pulling away.
Looking to get the white flag. The one of Annette not moving. The white flag came out. Allmendinger
No mistake.
in front.
NASCAR's going to let it go. Okay, the 1 now is moving the backstretch. I expect it to end under green. The 54 now into second. Hemrick into fifth.
Allmendinger now with a 1.8 second lead over Ty Gibbs. Sam Mayer's fallen to third.
Oh,
And
Sam's
around
got a
goes
speed time.
Ty Gibbs. He keeps it going the right direction.
What a save.
That was a great save. I told you those guys are rivals, man. They go at each other when they race.
Sam got underneath Ty going down that little short stretch, and Ty tried to block that move. Sam wasn't having anything to do with that. Ty did a great job of saving that car. Now we're side by side for second.
Pulling away. The 16 of Allmendinger looking for win 6 as they go side by side for second. Cindric on the inside. Sam Mayer sliding. He'll have to stop. Here comes Hemrick.
Go.
Hemrick trying to get by Cindric for second. But Allmendinger now with over a 2-second lead through the final chicane for the final time. Once again, Allmendinger has shown he is a road course superstar. He wins at Charlotte.
Hell yeah, let's go! Yeah!
They're wrecking on the front stretch again. A fight for position between the Burtons. To see who will make it, we see Brandon Brown go across the start-finish line backwards. Who is the final car to advance? It looks like it will be Harrison Burton, finishing close enough to Jeb Burton. He has enough points. He's above the cut line.